So tonight we're going to be covering the 5 strategies to re-entering the workforce post-COVID-19. It's been obviously a very tough time for everybody. I would like to thank you very much for making the time. This is an investment in your own life and in your own careers. And I really have the pleasure and the honor of having you on this webinar. I really appreciate that. Some housekeeping: please keep the mics muted because we do have quite a lot of people who have registered. If you can also, if the bandwidth gets overused, we'll ask you to keep the videos muted. If you want to keep your video muted, unmuted, that's fine. But ideally, mute your mic and your video. We're going to make it interactive so that, I'll ask you some questions, and ideally, if you can answer the questions in the chat box, that would be good, just to manage, because we do have a lot of participants on the call. We'll try and finish by 8:15. I hope it's okay if we go a little bit over. If it's an issue, please do let me know. If a lot of people have issue with that, then we'll cap it to 8:15 p.m. Otherwise, we could potentially stretch it to 8:30. There is a lot to cover. And I will show you at the end how to get a copy of the free ebook. I put together an ebook. My partner and I put together an ebook for you guys that has all this information that we're covering tonight, plus a lot more. We still have people joining the webinar. Welcome. All right, so this is the gift for people who stay to the end. Great. All right, so why are we here? So obviously we've got the coronavirus situation. It's really taken people, by surprise. It came suddenly. At least for me, it felt like there was no warning. It was very sudden. But the impact is huge. I mean, a lot of countries are in lockdown. I'm sure of you, if you're, from I think most of us are from, from immigrants from outside Australia, came into Australia. So a lot of people back home, I have a lot of relatives back overseas, that are in complete lockdown. They can't even leave their house. They can't leave the country. A lot of people who are outside the country want to try and come back. They're finding it difficult to return to their homeland. So it is quite severe. The impact is quite severe. And let me just check for more comments. Okay. And I feel that, I think probably, everybody or nobody was really prepared for this. Everybody was unprepared. But here's what's interesting. And this is what I really want people to keep in mind, that this is not unprecedented. This is not the first time that humanity or businesses have gone through something like this. It's quite interesting. There's an author, I'll remember his name later on, but he wrote a book called Black Swan, where he said, people actually thought that there were no black swans in the world. It was only white swans. Okay, and when they found black swans in Australia, southeast and southwest of Australia, it was amazing. It was like, this is unheard of before. And he wrote a book about these anomalies in terms of probability, and it's quite interesting. The book is called Black Swan. If you're into statistics and probability, that's quite interesting book to read. I will remember his name in a minute. So, but this is not the first time. And what's interesting is that people and businesses who can adapt will win, and people who cannot adapt will definitely lose. So let me ask you, put it back to you and ask you, what other events in history have happened like this? I mean, some things have happened in the world. We may have been a lot younger, and our parents have had to deal with it. But this is not the first time that humanity went through this. So let me ask you guys, for those of you who are familiar with history or old enough like myself to remember, who have lived through things like that. Okay, great. So we've got World War I, World War II, true. The 2008 global financial crisis, absolutely. So financial crisis, yep, absolutely, yep. And anybody else? Who else can tell me? So I'll give you an example. Okay, so some people have gone through personal trauma themselves. Someone mentioned that they lost their father when he was 18. I'm sorry to hear that. So that's an example of traumatic experience. So the Spanish flu, excellent. The year 2000, yeah. The .NET, I think the year 2000, you mean the .NET bubble burst at that time. The 2014 currency crisis in Russia. Job losses in 2008. Great. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so if you think about businesses, you know what's interesting. This is not the first time, because if you look at the advent of the internet itself, the introduction of the internet has interrupted a lot of businesses and a lot of business models. You know, businesses like Starbucks, businesses like McDonald's, for example, when they came into existence, they interrupted a lot of other, literally hundreds or maybe thousands of other businesses, and other people's lives. They impacted people's lives. So you can tell. I mean, even the global recessions in 2008, the global financial crisis in 1975, if you remember, there was a massive recession at that time, which I'll mention a little bit about later on. But you know, what's interesting is a lot of people, you know, went out of business. A lot of businesses went out of business. A lot of people lost their jobs. You know, people's lives were really rattled, right? But what's interesting is that opened the way for a lot more opportunities, and people who were positive and looked out for opportunities, as we'll see later on, really stood out, and they survived, and they're able to ride that wave, so to speak. So the question I really want you to take away from, you know, over the next 60 minutes is, this is the key point. The question is not to ask ourselves, is not to how will we survive? That's the wrong question to be asking yourself. The question should be, how will you adapt to a different world? That is the question, right? And it must be thought of and framed, and keep that in mind. How will I adapt? What will I become as I work through this? Because the world's going to be different. Okay, so how will I adapt to a different and changing world? All right, so to help us with that thought process, I've put together these 5 strategies, and I want to focus on each one, at least briefly, give you some contents, give you some ideas, and some stories, and then I'll deliver a lot more information to you through the ebook that I will send you. So we'll look at 5 strategies. The first strategy is finding opportunities. How do you find opportunities in this day and age, at least in this complicated climate? Then developing a strong mindset, because as far as I'm concerned, I've seen this myself, I've seen it with a lot of people, pretty much every executive or every professional I work with in a training session or one-on-one in executive coaching, everybody who develops a strong mindset, right, can weather the storms. If not, you really, it's a ripple effect. If you cannot get your mindset in order, then it'll affect everything else in your life. So how do you develop a strong mindset? And then looking at making the right decisions for yourself and for others. I'll give you a framework to help you do that. How do you maintain good health? What does good health mean, and why we need to maintain good health? And then we'll look at developing an action plan for each of the areas in your life. So first of all, you know, finding opportunities. I love this quote: your past does not equal your future unless you live there. So here's what's interesting. In the 1975 recession, there was rising unemployment, there was high inflation, we had stagnant economies around the world, not just in one particular country. This was a global recession. We had spikes in petrol prices. But here's what's interesting. These companies actually were founded in those times. So the people who founded these companies, right, found opportunity. They thought, you know what, we're not going to let the current situation let us down. We're going to expand our network, look for opportunities, and literally make this happen. So in 1975, amongst a lot of other companies, the 2 biggest companies that we know of, and I'm sure there's a lot more that started at that time, but in 1975, Microsoft was founded. Apple was first founded by Steve Jobs in 1975. And what's interesting, after a while, they start to stagnate. So in 2001, they pivoted again, right? So literally they changed their business model again in 2008. In 2001. In 2008, we were hit by the global financial crisis, out of our control, not your control, not my control. But all these companies were started. We had Groupon, Airbnb, WhatsApp, Instagram, Uber, Pinterest, Slack, Square, a lot more. I mean, these companies are literally have net worth of in the hundreds of millions of dollars, if not in the billions of dollars, and they were all started in the 2008 or the 2 years after it, where the economies around the world were still trying to pick themselves up. So they were all started in that period. So here's what's interesting right now. What's relevant to us right now? What's relevant to you right now is there are still so many job opportunities. If you're looking for a job or you're looking to start a business, there are so many opportunities, right? And I really want you to keep an open mind to that. So even if you've been following the news, I mean, yes, there's a lot of negative in the news, but there are things that, there are opportunities that come about. Like, for example, Woolworths and Coles, they announced 20,000 new jobs. Many opportunities opening there, right? But you just need to look in the right place. You need to be in the right place, in the right time, with the right people. And some of the, I mean, based on my research that I've been doing over the last few days, some of the jobs that are currently in demand are things like, obviously the truck drivers, delivery drivers, childcare. We have sales, education, even in IT. But what's interesting, I was talking to Rajiv the other day. He was telling me about someone that he knows that was also in the technology space. And then this happened, and he looked for opportunities and literally decided, you know what, my cash flow and the well-being of my family is a lot more important than my own ego. So I'm going to look for opportunities. So this guy went out, and he actually went out to the Flemington markets, and which is a big fruit and vegetables market in Sydney. And he looked for opportunities there. He identified that there's a gap. He took it up. I think he was doing deliveries and delivering to people in their homes because they couldn't leave. And people would call him up. He put together a quick website. People contacted him. And that's how he got his business up and running, and he's expanding by the day. So there you go. That's an opportunity, a lot of opportunities there. Okay, so the second strategy that I want you to keep in mind is your mindset. The question to you is, oh yes, VK, thank you very much. The name of the author is Nassim Nicholas Taleb. And the name of the book is called Black Swan. Thank you, VK. I appreciate that. Yeah, great book, great book. If you're into that stuff, you should, I highly recommend reading it. So mindset, let me ask you, let me throw it back to you guys. Why do you think a strong mindset is important in these turbulent times? Why do you think a strong mindset? So if you can type in the comment, just a few words, let me know what you think. From your own, experience. Why? Because a lot of you guys have already mentioned to me what some of the challenges that you've been through. So why would a strong mindset help us with that? Okay, we've got people saying personal growth. Great, personal growth and to be focused. Not going into depression, absolutely. It saves you from going into depression. Optimism. Right. Stability. Irrespective of the situation, absolutely. To stand out, nice. To make the right decisions, absolutely. Good points. Keep them coming, keep them coming. All right, let's have a look. So I love this, to perform at your peak. Yes, absolutely. Keep things in control, remain motivated, removing fear factors. That's absolutely very, very important. To remain motivated, but also to remove that fear with a strong mindset, you can overcome that fear. Because I've been making some posts on social media about fear and how and what fear is really an illusion. It's not even real. To use the situation to your own advantage. Yeah. I love this quote. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. Absolutely. I see it every time, every day. When I maintain a positive mindset, I wake up and I have gratitude, and I do my meditations, and I literally intentionally, because I think a lot of us, and I can probably speak for most people, I think most of us can easily fall into a negative mindset and default back to that if we're not mindful of that. So it's really important that you maintain a positive mindset, remind yourself and set anchors around and set habits, develop habits to develop that mindset, the positive mindset. So change, let's look at the current situation, right? Change is really stressful. I mean, this is really took everybody by surprise, but we have to admit that change is stressful. Let's not just say, well, let's just keep a positive mindset. What I like to do is I like to assess the things or the situation that I'm going through as is. I mean, if you have weeds in your garden, you have weeds in your garden. You have to pull them out. But at the same time, don't get depressed over the weeds. We can pull them out. You can plant new flowers. But what's happening with the current situation? The fact is, people are losing their jobs, right? I mean, there are many people who are losing their jobs. People have lost their jobs. And a lot of people are feeling insecure. And why is that? The question is, why is that? And it's because, to most people, a job is more than just an income. It's more than the, a couple of $1,000s that you get at the end of the month, right? To a lot of people like myself, I had this, for a very long time. It was a way to do some purposeful and meaningful work. It was a way to really challenge me every day, to get up and challenge myself to do something new, right? Especially when you're in software development or in the corporate world, you're solving people's problems and, you're managing projects and you're testing and etc. There's always a new challenge, and that's a great way to remain, engaged mentally, engaged and to be challenged. Work-based social networks, absolutely. I love the people, not all the time maybe, but most of the organizations I've worked with, I liked the environments I worked in, and I got along very well with them. So, work-based social networks, a sense of security. When you're working, look, a lot of people need that security. Not everybody does. When I was younger, when I was early in my career, I really needed that job security. It's things have changed for me, for me now. The way we think when you're older, it's a little bit different. But a lot of people still need that sense of security for their income. You develop a daily routine, and it develops your professional identity. It becomes part of your identity if you've been doing it for quite a bit of a time. Now, how do you deal with that grief? You've gone through stress. And if you're going through stress right now, and if you're going through grief, what I ask you is, please do not ignore it. Okay, we must allow ourselves to grieve. Okay, otherwise, if we don't, we can't move on, or we will keep getting stuck. Right. So grief is a natural response to any type of loss, whether it's personal loss, you lose a job, you lose a loved one, any type of real losing something of real value. There's grief involved. So it's normal to feel angry, confused, and hurt about something that you've lost. It's also normal to feel that you're anxious and fearful about what the future may hold for you. All right, that's completely normal. Okay, so please do not feel I'm not supposed to be going through this. This is completely normal feeling as a human being. And the best way to deal with it, and I will show you some more things about mindset and decisions and action plans in the next 10, 15 minutes. The best way to deal with it is to really stay positive. You got to find a way every day to stay positive. Remind yourself, remind your loved ones and the people around you that we must stay positive and see the silver lining. And you've got to stay focused on a bright future, as we said before, and you have to find good coping techniques. All right, any questions so far? So I'm up to strategy 3, and we're traveling pretty good in terms of time. We're about halfway there. Any questions so far? Let's take a break for like a minute and find out if anyone has any questions. Can you guys give me an example where how you dealt with grief in the past? All right, or what your thoughts are about opportunities, current opportunities. So the two things, opportunities, or also mindset and grief, how you dealt with grief. Someone's asking, can we get the slides at the end of today's meeting? Absolutely. Look, I will send you an ebook. As I mentioned in the beginning, I will send you an ebook that has all these slides, all this information, and a lot more. I'm actually going to share with you a lot of resources that you can tap into and start utilizing and researching to create action plans, to actually explore different avenues and tap into some of these opportunities that I mentioned. Okay, prayers. Okay, great way to deal with stress, loss, and relief. I lost twin babies and still can't deal with grief. Sometimes I need you help me in time. Okay, I'm so sorry to hear that. So someone's, again, I won't mention names, but someone mentioned that they lost twin babies a few years ago, and she's finding it very difficult to deal with the grief. I'm sorry to hear that, and I pray that you can work through that. But you must let yourself grieve. That's my recommendation to you. Let yourself grieve. It's okay. All right. It's okay to vent and let yourself grieve. And I will give you some tips a little bit later on about that. And if you need to have that conversation, please get in contact with me. I can put you in contact with a life coach who can help you with that. Okay, video calling. Rajiv is saying video calling friends, university friends. That's great. Good way to deal with the stress. Listening to music, nice. Okay, keep firm head and emotions so you can deal with the right mindset. I love that. Good. Talk to others. Absolutely. That's a great way of dealing with the situation, making sense of it, as long as they're positive, right? If we're going and gossiping and talking to people who will just bring us down, that doesn't help. Remind yourself that this time will also pass. I love that. That's great, Yogesh. Thank you. I tell a lot of my friends and my family and my kids, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. You've got to remind yourself that and tell others that. Reading successful people, how successful made it. Absolutely. There's a lot of motivational videos. I'll give you an opportunity to connect with me online on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page. I share motivational videos. My partner shares motivational videos. She's also a life coach. And yeah, absolutely. Stay connected with people. Talk with old and best friends. I love it. That's nice. From school. Yes. Same as Rajiv. That's a great point. Call the professional helplines. So if you are if you're clinically depressed, if you're in a very serious situation, you absolutely must reach out to professionals. Please, this is essential. You must reach out to professionals. If you feel that you're in a very, very dark place and you can't help come out of it yourself, please make sure you do reach out to professionals. Thinking positive in a positive way. Great. 12 close friends. Beautiful. All right, great. Let's keep going. Thank you so much for that. That's very valuable. Okay, making the right decisions is strategy number 3. So let me summarize this for you. This is one of the, I guess, best strategies I've learned throughout my career as an executive coach, as a trainer, working in business, in change management, and even myself, to get myself unstuck and work through some of my own challenges. I had to remind myself that I can only control 3 decisions in my life. Okay, because my decisions and my thinking every day and literally sometimes every minute control the quality of your life, right? The decisions that you make right now, I mean, I'm sure you guys have been, and let me know if you've been through the same. You know, sometimes you make a quick decision that you regret later on, and you go, oh gosh, and you can't undo it. You can't undo it. But you make it either when you're super hyped up and you're super happy, or you're super upset and depressed and stressed and anxious, right? That's why I learned not to make decisions where I'm in either end of the spectrum, of the emotional spectrum, either too elated, too happy, or too upset, or too stressed, or too depressed. Okay, so try not to make decisions on those ends. But let me ask you, when we focus on making decisions, there are three types of decisions that we can make. And I've got to ask myself these questions, you know, whenever I go through challenges. So I'm recommending to you that you do the same, right? So whenever you're in a challenging situation, you ask yourself, okay, what will I focus on now? Okay, what will I focus on now? You know, I'm hearing the negative news in the media. People are telling us, oh, you know, people are dying, people are losing their jobs, as if the whole world is falling apart. Okay, but what do I choose to focus on now? I'll look around. I am healthy. You know, my kids are fine. And what would I choose to focus on now? It's like, you know, there's an analogy. You walk into a dark room with a torch, and in the dark room there's so many things in this room, right? But whatever you light your torch on, you'll see. So you light your torch on a pot of gold, you'll see that pot of gold. If you light your torch on, you know, you know, dead plants or furniture, that's all you'll see, right? You'll see wood, or you'll see metal, or you'll see gold, whatever you shine your, because in this life everything exists, all these things exist, all the opportunities are present. The second thing I encourage you to ask yourself is, what things mean to me? What do I choose? What meaning do I choose? What meaning do I choose? And we'll expand on that a little bit later on. And the third thing is, what action steps can I take right now? What action will I take next? So these are the things are within my control, because sometimes we get stuck when we worry about things that are not within our control. You know, what caused the coronavirus? Oh, there's like 101, you know, conspiracies out there. There might be, you know, half of them might be right, maybe not, maybe one is right, maybe 99 of them are right, but who knows, right? But I cannot control that. But what I can control is I can control my thoughts, I can control my feelings, and I can control what I do, my actions. Okay, but then there are things that I can influence. I can't control how my kids react, but I can influence that. I can't control that. You know, that say a good friend of mine might panic, right, or might lose his job or her job. But I can, at least I can advise them and influence them and be there for them. I trust that makes sense so far. So which of these is valuable for you at this stage? Which of these, the focus, the meaning, or the actions? Focus, meaning, or actions? Or which two, or maybe all three? Can you give me some feedback? Focus and action. Herein is saying focus and action, all three by Manoj. Focus and action, great. Rajesh, thank you. 1 and 3, which is focus and action, great. Nice, nice. A lot of people are saying 3. Action, what action do I take next? Absolutely, absolutely. 1 and 3, absolutely. Focus and action, good. Good, let's have a look at the next slide. Focus and action. Yeah, a lot of people are saying focus and action. Good, good, good. So we've got an exercise where I want you now to work with me. I want you to work with me on this. So let's try this. Let's try this. I really want to make sure that we get value out of this as we're going through it. So here are 3 common complaints. I hear these all the time from people. A lot of times I hear these 4 complaints. You know, I'm stuck at home. Oh gosh, we're so stuck. How are you going? Oh, I'm stuck at home. It's so boring. Okay. Complaint number 2. These are common complaints. Oh my gosh, I might get sick. I'm a bit worried. My kids might get sick. What if I get sick? What if my partner gets sick? Oh gosh, you know, I can't afford to do that. Complaint number 3. Oh gosh, I'm going to run out of essentials, right? Essential items. I'm going to run out of toilet paper. I'm going to run out of toilet paper. Oh no. And number 4 is I can't shop. Everything is shutting down. So let me ask you, which of these do you hear the most in your, you know, in not necessarily yourself, but you know, in people around you, or which ones have you heard quite a bit? 2, which is I'm going to get sick. 3, everything's closed. A lot of 1s. I'm stuck at home. Yeah, a lot of 1s. 3, Praveen saying that people are saying 3, we're going to run out of items. 3, yes, a lot of 1 and 2. Yeah, absolutely. 1. Okay, so let me ask you now. Thank you for that. Thank you for your participation. Let me ask you, how can we take that? Because again, when we go through these trainings and when we look at these things differently now, I want you now to work with me to see how can we reframe that? How can we reframe? Because I want to really make this practical. How do I reframe it for myself? How do I reframe it for my kids? What if my daughter came up to me and says to me, "Oh, Dad, what if I get sick? I'm really worried. How do I get sick?" You know, or what if my partner tells me, "Oh, can you go shopping? We're going to run out of toilet paper." Or, you know, how can we reframe that? Okay, someone's saying we're all enjoying a lot of time at home. Yesterday we had a party. Okay, well, that's great. That's great. That's a good way of looking at it. Okay, I can have my own parties at home, right? We can do video conference and have our own parties. Okay, let's have a look. Keep engaged in something. Very good. It's 23rd day at home. Oh, really? Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, okay, so that's why you're having parties. Do it yourself crafts at home. Very good. You can do that with the kids. You can do that with families. Good time to dust off that Monopoly set. Went out only once in 23 days. Wow. Exercise. You can go out. You are allowed to go out for exercise, by the way. There are essential things that you're allowed to go out and do if you're in Sydney, and I believe it's the same in Melbourne. Exercise at home. Very good. Learn new skills. Excellent. Very good one. Playing so many indoor games, having set time to do activities. I love that. You're on a ball. Playing with the kids, learning new skills, fitness challenge, your best friends. Okay, good. Gardening, very good. Watching 1 movie a day at least. Nice. Catching up on the movies. Okay, nice. Okay, good. So I want you upgrading skills. Yes, absolutely. That's a very good one. Online courses. Excellent. All right. So I want you to have a look at this. Okay, I want you to have a look at this. So this is one way. So I've been talking with my partner. I said, okay, well, how do you and I address these challenges? Whenever it comes to our mind, how do you address it? How do we talk to the kids about it? So if our friends are complaining about things running out, things are closing, shops are closing, you know, they're stuck at home, you know, they might get sick. How do we address it? So these are common good ways to reframe that meaning. And that's what I meant by meaning. What does it really mean to you that I'm stuck at home? Well, stuck, even the word stuck, right? How do I reframe that? So people who say I'm stuck at home, well, you're home, you're safe with your loved ones, right? What can you do? I mean, there's so many things that you guys have shared there that are amazing that they can do. Secondly, I could get sick. Well, are you practicing social distancing? Are you self-isolating? Right? I'm going to make sure that I wash my hands and keep my distance, and that decreases the probability and the chances of getting sick. Right? Number 3. So I have everything I need. So you know, this is about essentials running out. Right? Well, do I have things I need? Yes, I do. Right? I look in my pantry, I look in the fridge, I have a lot of things I need. I can still go shopping, by the way, which is number 4. a lot of essential places are, groceries, everything's closing down. Well, it's all the essentials are not closing down. You've got your medical centers, your hospitals, your shopping center. A lot of shops are still, essential shops are still open, right? So we can still shop for these things. You can go out for absolutely, and please make sure that you keep up to date with what's out there and the rules, because they're always changing every day, obviously, right? So please make sure you're on top of that. But as far as I know, you can still go out for absolute essentials. I can go out and buy groceries because I need to feed my family. I can go out and exercise because I need to move my body, right? And we still do that when we need to. Great. So which of these 4 do you like the most? Which of these 4 do you like the most? And that you and you've got to use them. You've got to use them, right? So which ones are you committed to using? Nice, great. All 4, great. A lot of 1s, 3, 1 and 3, 1, good, good. 1 and 3, nice. 2 and 4, nice, beautiful. Okay. Strategy number 4 is about maintaining good health. I'm going to cover this quickly and then jump into some action plans so we can move forward and re-engage in that workforce. Let's have a look at that. So eating well. Now, it's really important for us to understand that our minds and our bodies are a vessel. All right, the body is a vessel really that carries us through this world, through this life, and we absolutely must make sure that we manage it and maintain it and look after it. The question I have for you is, who can relate to this story? In 2000, like I mentioned to you, in the year 2000, I remember we had the Olympics, right? I think it was in the year 2000. And my friend and I went to see some track and field events. And I was overweight. I was so overweight. I had pain, joint pain everywhere. And I remember, looking at these athletes and thinking, man, these it's phenomenal. How do these guys become like that? And I was sitting in the, on the seats there watching, and I was inspired. I was really inspired, and I thought, I'm really going to change my life. And I joined the gym, and I went on a strict regimen. I was very mindful what I ate, very mindful what I ate. I didn't deprive myself, but very mindful. I made sure that I eat well, I ate healthy, a lot of omega-3s, cut down on carbs, no fast food, no junk food, get rid of all that. And all of a sudden, and very, very quickly, I found my energy. I had this massive boost of energy, right? And a lot of focus. So how is all this relevant? How is all this relevant to you getting back in the workforce and you getting your career back in order? How do you guys make sure? Let me just cover this first. So we're gonna make sure that we eat well and which keeps the energy high. I really encourage you to reassess your diet. Ask yourself, am I comfort eating? I used to do that a lot, and I've done it every now and then. Every couple of years, I fall into old habits. I have to admit, I'm guilty. I fall into bad habits, especially around stressful situations. And it's comfort eating, right? So I eat when I don't have to eat, which packs the weight on, as some of you may be able to see. And fast food, sometimes I fall into that. I have some fast food, but you got to make sure that the quality of the food you consume has a huge impact on your energy and mood, right? And that is a proven fact scientifically. Also, staying active. Staying active, it's also well documented that at least 10 minutes of a walk will raise your spirit, will just make you feel positive for at least the next 2 hours, at least. Okay. And all the endorphins, all the the dopamine that you get as you're getting involved in activities, particularly social activities or exercise, that really changes things for you. The question I have for you is, this is the question that's pivotal because when I was a few days ago when I was putting this together, I was trying to consider what really is important for us to get back in our careers and our rejoin the workforce. And I could have just spent the entire session just on tips and tricks, right? but most likely 99% of that information is actually available for everybody. But this is a completely different way of looking at things. So the question to you now is, how is this important? How is your health important? We've already spoken about mindset, but how is your health? How is eating healthy and staying fit important for you to stay calm, to re-engage in your career and develop your skills? How is that important for you? If I can get 10 out of 10, thank you. Great. Yeah, absolutely important. Yeah. Who else? Nice, nice. Okay. Right. So I'll wait for a couple more people. Staying healthy is more important than anything else. Absolutely. Thank you. Oh, okay. So someone's saying maintaining, good health is important, or eating is important, but now it's become more of an entertainer. Okay. So you got to be mindful now. It sounds like there's comfort eating there. Healthy body, healthy mind. Okay. Absolutely. So health is a saying, a healthy mind is in a healthy body. So absolute first priority. Very good. Very good. Let's look at some action plans. So this is number 5, strategy number 5, developing some action plans. And we're tracking well on for time. Okay, good. So what are some action plans? I actually put together some, action plans for pretty much, most areas of your life. And the question now is, why do we need action plans? And I love this quote: if you don't build your dreams, someone will hire you, someone else will hire you to help build theirs, right? So no one's going, I cannot outsource. I mean, the IT world and the business world are great at outsourcing, right? And there are things that you cannot outsource. You cannot outsource your health. You cannot outsource your time, generating more time, right? You cannot outsource your relationships with your loved ones. I cannot do that. All right. There are things that you cannot do, but you can outsource and get somebody else to do the hard work for you, so you can buy yourself more time. All right. So here are some tips. So why do we need an action plan? Obviously, it gives us direction, motivation, focus, for continuous improvement, for fulfillment. It reduces stress, increases joy and success. Absolutely. So when you're focused and you have an action plan, you're absolutely more likely to hit the goals that you plan for your life. It's one thing thinking positive, but you also have to follow that up with an action plan. You cannot just think positive and do nothing about it and procrastinate. Right? That gets you nowhere. Okay, have a schedule. Great. Okay, good. All right, let's have a look at some of the action plans that we put together for you. And by the way, guys, what we've done, my partner and I have actually put together an ebook with a lot of resources, but these are literally just a list of a few action plans that you can implement immediately. We have links, we have tips, tricks, and we'll put that together in an ebook, which I will show you how to get that at the end of this webinar in about less than maybe 10 minutes or less. Okay, so what career action plans? What action plans can you put together or can you follow through with for your career? I've got, for your career, for your finances, for your health, for your relationships, and I'll share some of these things with you and a lot more in the ebook that I will share with you. So what I want you to do, and this is really, really important. I want you to understand that everybody has transferable skills. Everybody has transferable skills, right? And I really wish we had a lot more time. I mean, it's very difficult to actually fit all this, the coaching. Because what I've done is I've taken a lot of, the coaching mindset and the coaching models and I've pretty much just summarized, with key points in this presentation. I would have to spend hours and maybe work one-on-one to really get to expand on all this. So, transferable skills. Your communication skills are transferable. Your analytical skills, the way you think, the way you process, the way you assess, the way you test, the way you check, the way you document things, right? Someone who's an analyst. Analysts are great at looking at things from different perspectives, all right? That's a great transferable skills. project managers, you guys, when you plan, you set schedules and you keep track, and you're very good with your time management and goal setting. These things are transferable skills, right? So how could you use these skills and apply it maybe to a different industry or a different type of role? Okay, but we really have to make sure that we focus on adding value. So it's not what do I know already? It's what do I know that will help me add value to somebody else, because people will pay you for solving problems. That's it. They will not pay you because you have a certification. They will not pay you because you went to this particular university or that particular university, right? Nobody really cares, okay? Unless you're, in other parts of the world, which they focus on these things. But if you're looking for career progression in Australia, or even, and I encourage you to even consider maybe even having your own business, right? And if you are considering that, please do get in touch with me, because we need to talk about that. Even if you're doing that, I'm asking you to look at what skills that you currently have that you can then take and add value and maybe repackage and add value to somebody, right? Because that's what they'll pay for. If you can solve a problem for somebody, they'll pay you. And the bigger the problem, the bigger they'll pay, the more the pay will be, okay? And I want you to also make a list of your current accomplishments. That will help you with your focus, help you with your confidence in selling yourself to your future employer or to your clients. So make a list of accomplishments, because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for social proof. If I say to you that I've worked with all these people, I can tell you here now, I've worked with over 200 people one-on-one. Well, who cares? But when we talk about the accomplished, that how they change their life, we're talking about one particular entrepreneur who's been struggling to sell his products for 3 months. He only sold 5 products, right? After we worked over 2 sessions, he was able, within 2 weeks, he sold 20 of the same product, right? That's an achievement. That's an accomplishment, right? That I was able to help him do. That's a different perspective. So if I say, oh, I coach entrepreneurs, who cares, right? Same thing with you guys. I want you to look at what skills you already have. What have you accomplished? Put that together and look at repackaging yourself. You really need to come out of, like, it's like a caterpillar. You can't continue in the new world, in post coronavirus, the way you've been going before. I mean, Einstein says if you solve what is it? If you I forgot. If you solve this old new problems with the same level of thinking, that's the definition of insanity. Someone correct me if someone give me the right quote, please. Okay, so my next recommendation is to update your resume. So once you've made a list of all your transferable skills, you made a list of all your accomplishments, I want you to look at your resume and rework it, restructure it, make it communicate those things, those skills and achievements. Your resume really needs to speak on your behalf. Update your LinkedIn profile. Show people proof. Show people proof. Don't just mention, I've done this. Okay. How did you do it? What have you achieved? Make videos. Make video testimonials, right? Even for new employees. I mean, this is different. No one does this before. But the ones who succeed are the ones who think different. Maybe instead of just sending a resume, send a resume that's been updated, but also do a video where you communicate to them. I've been involved. Hiran is saying, okay, this is the quote. Okay, a couple of people are, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Thank you very much for that. Someone else is saying, we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking used when creating them. Absolutely. We cannot solve all problems, our problems, with the same level of thinking. Create them. Beautiful, beautiful. Einstein. Great, thank you. Okay, so yeah, so this is another thing that you can try, like put together those skills, and achievements and create a video. So when you're applying for a job or even applying for a tender or looking to work with a client, put a video together, record yourself and make it customizable and personalized. I'll give you an example. I went and I met up with a real estate agent. This is about a month ago. And we spoke about working together. but he wasn't ready. This is before coronavirus thing, right? Before the pandemic blew over. And we spoke about working together. And then this whole thing started, right? You know, everyone's in lockdown, you know, no one wants to spend money, etc. So what I did is I actually went and offered to work with him, right, for free for a couple of sessions. Not because I know that he cannot pay me right now, right? But what we spoke about, we identified a serious problem in his business, right? I am more concerned of solving that problem. I then went and bought a book that I know will help him, and I gave him to him as a gift, right? So from my perspective, this is adding value to him, to his family, to his employees, to his staff, to his business, to his bottom line. Now, I also believe that whatever goes around will come around. Eventually, the universe, God will bring that back to me in manyfold somehow. So I really want you to apply these skills as well. So expand your network through LinkedIn and other social media, other platforms. Take an online training course. Someone also mentioned that before. Please do make sure that you're upgrading your skills in this quiet period, and maybe consider starting a business, right? And if you want to continue the conversation with me and my partner about how we can expand and maybe do some work together throughout this and how I can help you, please do stay in contact with us. Okay, great. Next, so action plans for your finances. I want you to be very mindful. There are two things that that I recommend you do, and I want you to be mindful that you don't stop spending completely, but I want you to focus on the essentials. Ask yourself, is this really essential? Is buying a new couch essential at this stage, right? Is upgrading my car essential at this stage? Maybe it is. If your car is broken and you can't get around, maybe it is, right? But what is essential, obviously, you know, things so you can survive, but also things that will help you thrive post-coronavirus pandemic. So things like, for example, online trainings, you know, your skills upgrades, paying someone to help you with something, you know, doing some private coaching, doing some mentoring, seeing a psychologist, seeing a counselor. These things are absolutely important for you to invest in yourself so you can grow. I would also suggest that you renegotiate current expenses, like, for example, your rent and your payment plans. I was doing I'll give you an example. I was doing a course, you know, just for one weekend. I paid $4,000, but I paid it over a year, and I'm almost done, but I've had to put those payments on hold just for now until, you know, for about 2 months, right? And they were kind enough to do that. So my recommendation to you is renegotiate your rent, or maybe put that on hold if you can. Renegotiate your payment plans and look at also your entitlements. Obviously, put some money aside. Ensure that you're always putting some money aside. So work out with your partner and if you're at home, you know what that means. Can we put 5% aside? Can you put 10% aside? What's at least, you know, the percentage that we can put aside to make sure that when we are back on our feet, we can take this money and reinvest it in something big. Make sure you also look at and explore your entitlements. There are so many things out there that you can look at that you can will either cut costs or increase your income, even if it's a little bit. Right? Things like, for example, your toll relief. You know, the refund that you get from the tolls, or your toll relief, your energy rebates, your discounted license renewals. Okay, there are some financial organizations and banks offering no interest loans. Okay, so look at that, explore that. There's the job seeker and job keeper subsidy. They're good things to also look at. Health and fitness. Really mindful of the time. Okay, so we've got a little bit more time. Health and fitness. So in terms of your health and fitness, this is what I really recommend that you do, so you can maintain that high energy and maintain that focus, and it's really taking that energy and putting that energy into things that are important, like your family, for example, like your job search. You know, when you're starting a new business, or when you're looking for a new job, even just managing there's grief or stress that you're going through, that needs energy. So please make sure that you reduce your sugar, your refined carbs, your caffeine, cut down. Look, I have to admit, I love my coffee, but I've had to cut down from 2 or 3 cups a day to 1 cup a day max. Sometimes I go without one. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, but I'm working on it. Trans fats, chemical preservatives, please cut all that down. If you can remove your nicotine and alcohol from your diet, some people find it very difficult, but please work on removing this from your diets because they're really damaging to your body and your mind. Increase your intake of fatty acids like seafood, salmon, for example. Flaxseed nuts are really, walnuts particularly. Someone's saying you're asking us to eat less and cut on caffeine. Unbelievable. I'm so sorry, but yeah, look, not eat less, eat more healthy food. Less junk food. Eat more healthy food. Okay, so also exercise at least 30 minutes a day. If you can exercise 30 minutes or to 60 minutes a day, perfect. Or at least break it up into 10-minute intervals. But make sure it's high intensity exercise, and you don't need weights. You can just push-ups on the couch or on the bed, and you can do sit-ups on the floor. Anything like that will keep the blood circulating, keep the blood flowing, and keep you fresh and energetic. So please make sure you do that, but it has to be at least 10 minutes of high intensity workout. Things that you can do that you can enjoy with your partner, with your family, with your friends are walking, running, even wrestling with the kids. Sometimes I jokingly just wrestle with the kids, and that really gets the blood going. Or dancing. Some people like dancing. I'm not very good at that, but you really don't want to see me dance. I'll probably break the internet, but if you're into that stuff, then you can do that. But obviously also make sure that you maintain good hygiene and physical distancing. Mindset action plan. One good way to stay sharp, to stay positive, is to obviously to have positive thoughts. Ask yourself those 3 questions. What am I going to focus on? What does this really mean to me? What can I do next? So Manoj is saying here that he recommends, for health and fitness, he recommends a book to everybody. It's called The Obesity Code. The Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung. Thank you for that, Manoj. Appreciate it. So I'll include that in the ebook as well. Thank you for that. Okay, so make sure that you focus on what you can control, and if there's something that you cannot control, please do not beat yourself over it, and don't fret over it. Accept what you cannot change. This whole corona thing. If someone gets sick, if someone gets fired, I can't change that, and literally say that to yourself. That I cannot change. I cannot change that, right? I was not able to change it. But you see, sometimes we have to accept that, it may not be your fault that something has happened, but it's absolutely 100% your responsibility to move forward and stand back up and take yourself and your family to the next level. It's a responsibility on you. It may not be your fault that you got fired. Okay, it may not be, but you're going to look at, okay, well, what else is there? What else is there? Should I have pivoted? Should I have really thought about my career a lot sooner? I could have, maybe. It's okay. It's in the past now. What do I do now? How do I, rebrand myself? How do I move forward with this in this new world? And also, I want you to, for your mindset, I want you to focus and take up activities that give you meaning in your life. Build a good support network with your family, with your friends, like you guys were saying. And daily meditation. Now, I've just started doing this. Actually, I've been doing it for many years, but on and off, more and off. And I've found whenever I do it consciously, I have tons of energy throughout my day. And this is the key. This is the key. I wake up early in the morning, 5 o'clock. I do my early morning meditation and my prayers, and then I literally sit there and meditate. And I control my breathing. I'm going to show you a good way to control your breathing. And that gives you a lot of energy. It brings in a lot of good oxygen, especially at that time of the morning. oxygen. There's plenty of oxygen in the atmosphere. It's just great to breathe it in, and maintain good gratitude. Be thankful, and literally in your mind or out loud say thank you. Thank you for the sight I have. Thank you. You believe in God, you believe in the universe, but just thank. Be thankful for having those things in your life, for the sight, for your feelings, for the mind, for having a home, a shelter, having a family. Things may not be perfect, but at least be thankful, because when you have gratitude, things will improve. When you have gratitude, you clear that, and then you can build on top of it. Deep breathing. I'm going to show you how deep breathing. There's many different ways to do deep breathing. This is a good way that I learned, and it is to take 4 deep breaths in and 8 breaths out. 8 breaths out. And this is how you do. And you do diaphragmatic breath, because a lot of people make that mistake that they breathe with their chest like this. Okay. Now I hope you can see that. I'm just going to change this here. So yeah, if you're breathing through your chest, okay, that's not the right way to breathe. You really have to see your tummy, your belly stick out when you breathe. Okay, so be okay with that. Try and keep your chest not moving. So it's like this. You probably can't see it. I'm glad you can't see this, but so you really have to use your diaphragm. Research diaphragmatic breathing, deep breathing, and I want you to breathe deep in your diaphragm in 4 seconds, like this. And then breathe out 8 seconds. And you can do that with your eyes closed, or you can do it with your eyes open. It doesn't matter. And as you're doing that, and ideally, if you can close your eyes and meditate at the same time and have gratitude and be thankful and see this in this space of spiritual and mental peace, it'll really expand. It'll expand your opportunities, expand your mind. It'll open your heart, and you can face the day in a new light. And absolutely important. I really encourage you to really reach out to a professional, reach out to a psychologist, reach out to a counselor. You can also reach out to a life coach. There are a lot of good life coaches out there. Yes, there's a lot of bad ones, but please make sure you look around and ask a lot of questions, discuss, get some discussions flowing first, and make sure you select a good coach, a good life coach or executive coach to help you through this period and help you grow and expand your career. And also, obviously, relationships as well. In your relationships, action plan. So make sure you open up to your family, listen and be empathetic, supportive of your partner and your kids. Make sure that you take time, family time, to play games with them, connect with them, and especially with the kids, you have to make sure that they're talking about their concerns. Make sure that you maintain an open dialogue with your kids, and this is a perfect opportunity to reconnect with your partner and rekindle those old times. It's really important that you do that to make sure that the household is taken care of, because once that's taken care of, you can really focus on growing yourself. Because if those things are not taken care of, then it's difficult. It's difficult to have issues at home and the kids are scared and people are feeling insecure, and you're going out there trying to start a business and trying to expand your career, and you're doing a course. It's difficult to do that. So please make sure that you maintain a positive environment at home with your immediate family and your extended family. And then as you grow, that will be a lot easier to expand. Okay. Any questions so far? What's next? I'm going to tell you what is next. I'm going to tell you also how to get a copy of that free ebook I've promised you. Okay, I'm going to look at the chat in a minute, but I just want to share a couple of things with you. I want to let you know that my other programs, I do run a few other programs. These are 3 of them. I do run a lot more than that, but these are the 3 that I've been focusing on recently. And they are redesigning your life. So it's literally, it's a series of about 3, it depends. So 3 to 6 sessions. It depends with who, the number of audience. And it's looking at all the different areas of our life, creating visions and missions for our life, creating goals, and then designing that in a lot more detail. It's very interactive. I use a lot of coaching models for that. effective communication skills, one of the best things I've ever run. I just absolutely love that. I like the way you made us think about one thing links to another. Absolutely. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you very much. Especially thank you, Abdul. Okay, a lot of people saying thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, stay with me just for a few more minutes. So communication skills, absolutely love this training. I really enjoy it. I enjoy all my training, but this is in particular, I love that. Personal leadership skills, I run that for professionals and also in organizations as well. Leadership skills or just personal leadership skills. I do a lot of other things with businesses, but I'm not going to mention that here. But what I do also is executive coaching, life coaching, and leadership coaching. But I've reserved that just for my for private clients. So I do a lot of workshops. I run things publicly now. I try and put as much as I can on social media. I'm not as active as I want to be, but I try as much as I can. But in terms of leadership coaching, one-on-one life coaching, I try and reserve that for my private clients. But stay in contact because we can explore a few things there.